Last 5 seconds. Ready? Start. I thank you for the honor that you have done me today, and I shall always value it highly, coming as it does from this university, which was not only the first to make one of our spoken languages the medium of instruction, but which had also done pioneering work in getting textbooks in that language on all scientific and non scientific subjects prepared and published in its own way and within the limitations of the language chosen as the medium of instruction. That work appeared to me to be quite encouraging, as I was and have always been keenly interested in this question ever since I began taking active part in public affairs. I am glad to say that today public consciousness has been thoroughly aroused on this subject, and it is generally recognized by the intelligentsia and the educationists that if there is to be no avoidable and unnecessary waste in our educational effort, it is obviously necessary that education should be imparted in the indigenous tongues. But with all this, there is yet some haziness among certain sections of the people about the language policy best calculated to serve the objectives we have in view. I would like, with your permission, to say a few words about it. I believe that everyone in this country knows. In any case, I would like everybody to know that under the constitution that the sovereign people of India have adopted through their constituent assembly, it is our duty to establish a democratic society in this country, a society in which every individual and every group would have the fullest possible rights and opportunities to realize all is her or its potentialities. They would also have equal opportunities with others to shape the policy of the government in the states and the union. While thinking of the policy to be adopted with regard to the medium of instruction, we must all keep in our mind this mandatory obligation. I need not say that education is a power by itself, and that in any case a person bereft of it cannot have any chance of either realizing himself to be to the full or making any effective impression on the policies of the government of his country and region. It is therefore plain that the methods and means of education should be such as do not permit any discrimination between one man and another. It would thus appear that all kinds of education, primary, secondary, and university, should be available in its own tongue to every linguistic group of any appreciable size. It is only then that it would not have to spend more time, money, and energy than any other group for acquiring the benefits of education. Any other course of action would put one group at a disadvantage in comparison to the group in whose language its children have to acquire education. This means that education at all stages must be in the language of the region concerned. I would like to emphasize, however, that this can be feasible only if the linguistic group is of an appreciable size and forms a compact region. It cannot be reasonably demanded by those who are very small in numbers or are scattered in different parts of other linguistic regions. The governments of those linguistic regions must make arrangements for imparting education to their children in their own mother tongue, except in the lowest stages. The financial and other implications of accepting such a demand can be easily perceived. In every well-defined linguistic region of India, small numbers of persons speaking other languages are to be found. If separate arrangements have to be made in each school, college, and university of that region for the teaching of the children of all these different linguistic groups, the cost would be colossal. Moreover, from the political point of view, it is desirable that such scattered remains remnants of any linguistic group in any other linguistic region should identify themselves with the latter group instead of remaining entirely distinct from the latter, and thus keeping up a difference which may bring about ill feeling and misunderstanding between them and the large bulk of the population around them. Much of the complexity of the language question in this country would have been solved if each linguistic group recognized this cold logic of facts, financial and political. Each regional language has to be developed and its literature enriched so as to enable it to become a fit vehicle and a rich storehouse of knowledge of all kinds, ancient and modern. It is the duty of the regional government to help and encourage this development. This can be best done by building upon the foundation of the existing form of the language and the by embellishing it with whatever can be naturally adopted. Any puristic attempt to exclude words on the ground that they were borrowed and did not originally belong to the source from which the language was derived is bound not only to fail but to result in impoverishing the language as such. Stop.